Welcome back to the channel. We are Travel Unfiltered. So if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a like on the video. Join our community. We'd love to have you. It's small, but it's mighty.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. So, so today we're going to be talking about the program that I'm doing in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
It is called Nalcap. We wanted to share with you the pros and the cons about the program because there's people who do this program every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're thinking about doing it, you're currently in it, whatever your situation is, we wanted to just kind of share our experience, the pros and the cons, and let you make your own decision. Mm-hmm. So we have 4 pros and 3 cons. So I figured we would just start with pro.
Sure.
Because started off on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious. Pro is obvious. You get to live in Spain.
Yeah.
Like, how sick is that? How cool is that? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like getting to live in Spain, for me, or in Europe in general, was such a pipe dream.
Yeah.
It could never happen.
Yeah.
And here we are, and it's happening. So that's an obvious one. You get to live in Spain, get to be in the beauty of Spain, around the culture, around the food, the beaches, the language.
Yeah.
That's kind of just like a no-brainer. You get to live in Spain.
Yeah. And it's a really cool way to be able to live in another country and be paid to live in another country.
Yeah.
Without having to have a ton of extra special skills or having to go out and like find a job that will allow you to work remote or, you know,
Right.
things like
Yeah.
that. So it's definitely a cool opportunity for people who want to move to another country but maybe aren't exactly sure where to start.
Or you don't have a job lined up yet. Or something like that.
Yeah. This is a good place to start for that. I would definitely.
So easy pros that you get to live in Spain. So I think we do like a flip-flop of pro con. We ended on a high note. So a con, and I feel like we're going to talk about this one for a minute. The process is confusing.
It's awful. I'm just gonna say that it's awful.
She's not pulling any punches.
No, I think that I maybe would pull more punches if we were planning on doing the program again or something like that, but I am not.
We're not doing it again.
I think that there are other programs that you can do something similar through who do help you a lot. You just have to pay for it. So I feel like that's another like pro con of like they help you but you pay for it. Here they don't help you but you don't pay for it. But that program to apply is just annoying.
It's a shit show. You could say a shit show.
Yeah, and like they don't help you at all. Like the only way that we've gotten help was from other people doing the program and a Facebook group. Right. Like
yeah. So we'll talk strictly about the application process for right now.
Yeah.
And it opens the end of January, beginning of February, and the website literally crashes.
Yeah.
Because it has so many people trying to do it, because they get upwards of like 7,000 to 8,000 people applying, and not everybody gets in, not everybody does the program, but there's still that many people.
Yeah.
And in theory, they say that the lower your application number, the quicker you get a response back.
Yeah.
Let me just say that's absolute garbage.
No.
That's not true at all. So you got 1284 or something like that, and I applied, I couldn't get in, and I kept trying, and then within a couple days I got 1860 or something like that.
Yeah, and like so before you even apply, like you have to get your application together, and on the application you say like, hey, we're married, this is my spouse, this is their application.
Yeah.
We want to obviously live together because we want to do this together.
Yeah.
And so please place us in the same place. You also put like, hey, these are my top 3 choices of where I would like to be. And then you would say like, you have to get letters of recommendation. So it's like a pretty decent application process. So we had to get all of our documentation ready to go before we even applied.
Yeah.
And there's like all of these steps on the website that you have to go through, and then on the day to apply, when it opens, we were sitting there for like probably 3 or 4 hours trying to get our application to go through, and it was like, nope, didn't go through.
Yeah.
Nope, didn't
Just
go through.
crashing.
Nope, didn't go through. So like even my application I think was like 1 or 2 days later
than the opening day. Yeah, we both didn't get in on the opening day.
But mine was still
Super
like
impossible.
1,200 something, like 1,285 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that within like 2 or 3 days, only 1,000 applications even got processed. Where it's like, how is there not already a better system for this? And I think that's what drove me nuts in that initial point, was like, this is not the first year of this program. If it was the first year of the program, fine, I get it. Like, there's always stuff that you need to work out, but this is not the first year of the program. So, like,
get your shit together.
Yeah, I mean, have your website be built by somebody who can handle this much traffic. Like, I could see 100,000 people trying to all put in applications at the same time, but it's like,
websites can handle more than
like 50 applications at a time.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
After you get all your documents put in, you wait.
Yeah.
And you wait and you wait and you wait, and they say that by like late April to early June is when you're supposed to get your placement.
Which is crazy to me. That's the other thing that kind of pissed me off, is because I think the window closes at like the beginning of April.
Yeah.
And so from the beginning of February when you put in your application to the beginning of April, they're not even processing any of the applications.
No,
it seems like they're just waiting for applications to come in. Where it's like, okay, to me, I would be looking through all of the applications so that as soon as that deadline hits, it's like, okay, we only have a few left to process.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe these people are more qualified or whatever, but we only have like 100, a few hundred to process versus having to process 8,000 or however many applicants there were. And maybe they do, we don't know the back end of it, but it's just crazy that they can even give a window of April to June that you'll know. But they don't even stick to the window.
They don't. Because so we both applied, and I'll give away the ending. You ended up not doing it. Instead, I did. So we both applied. She got her placement first.
It was actually the end of June, because it was while we were in the airport going to Hawaii.
Yeah, it was. So it was the end of June. And I got mine like maybe a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
But you didn't get any of your top placements. And I didn't get my placement until a couple weeks later. And they sent me an email saying I didn't get placed at all. They said that all of the places that I chose were not available for me. So I got nowhere. So we were responding with them, we were emailing with them back and forth, trying to figure out what we can do, because we both want to do the program in the same region. Obviously, they said that that's an option, so we figured no big deal. But every single time that we tried to do it, just never happened.
Yeah.
So then I finally get my placement later.
And they were like, the best we can do is to give you the region next to her. And I'm like, brother, if we lived in the middle between our two schools, it would be like 2.5 hours of commute each way for both of us.
Because we looked, we thought that might have been an option. So we tried, because we both really wanted to do the program. So we looked into that. Would have been a 2.5 hour commute one way for each of us.
Yeah.
Not doable.
No.
So we ended up, I finally got a placement where we currently are, and we decided I will do the placement and she will work an online job, which we were very fortunate to get.
Yeah.
But if I were to give any piece of advice to somebody who is currently applying to the program, don't expect to get where you want to go. Like that, it does happen. Like it does happen.
Yeah.
But
even, we have a friend who's doing the program, and she had put like different places in the south of Spain because she wanted a coastal city. And they put her in Madrid. And I'm like, we wanted Madrid, and they didn't put us in Madrid. So it's like, how does that even work? Like, my thing is, if it wasn't an option, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I probably would have still applied to the program if they were like, hey, it's not an option to pick where you are, but we can at least put you guys together. Like, okay, fine. Like, then at least you know up front that you don't have a choice in where you're going. But they're like, here, put your top 3 choices, blah, 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 blah. And then they don't even take that into consideration. And to me, I'm like, my application was 1,280 something. Like, it was low compared to how many applications there were. And so in my brain, my logic would be, okay, they pull my application in the order it came in, so 1,200, whatever. They pull my application, they see, okay, it says on her application that she is married to somebody else who has applied. Look, let's pull their application. They have put the same places. It's not like we put different places that we wanted to live.
We put the exact same 3.
Yeah, and so, okay, we can't put them in their top one, but let's put them together in their 3rd place. Like, that would have been fine, too.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, like, it's based on region where they put you. It's not based on city. So if you're in, like, one region, we live in Bilbao, but he travels like an hour and a half each way still to get to and from work, which is a lot. Yeah. Like taxing mentally, physically, everything. But we were doing it because we wanted to live in Spain, so we're making it work. But it's hard because there really wasn't a place to live.
No.
In where his school is at.
Right.
And so it's hard because how are you supposed to figure that out? You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
it's worth it, I would say, but it's frustrating because you go through all this work, you put in so much effort to show them your preferences, you get all the stuff that they ask you for, and then they just disregard everything. It seems like. Yeah. So.
And it's like, if it's not a choice, then put that it's not a choice.
Yeah, don't give
people the option.
Right.
And if it is a choice, then take people's choices into regard. I could see if we were like 7,555, like, okay,
take what we can get at that point.
Exactly, like we put in our application, literally.
We were within the first 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 4,500 people that do this program every year.
Yeah.
So make it make sense to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on a positive note before we drop down into another negative. Another big reason, probably the biggest reason why we wanted to do this, is you get to travel around Europe.
Yeah.
So that was huge. We took advantage of that. We are taking advantage of that because you're living in Spain and flights to and from different European countries are the cheapest they'll ever be for you.
Yeah.
So take advantage. And we have been to over 10 countries now. We've been here for 6 months. Over 10 countries. I counted yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah, over 10 countries. So super cool. And I think by the time we're done with this, we'll have visited 15. But you get to travel around Europe.
Yeah.
So I would still say that the pros outweigh the cons. The cons are huge, but the pros are even bigger. So
the cons are very frustrating, and I think that if we would have seen a video like this and seen people actually talk about how frustrating it is to go through the program, and it's probably not this frustrating for everybody.
Yeah.
I think it definitely adds a layer of frustration when you're trying to do it together with somebody because, like I said, we wanted to live together. I wasn't going to pay 2 separate rents. That's crazy.
Yeah.
At least for us. But, like, if I would have known the frustrations going into it, I think I would have handled it a little bit better. But I think we came into it fairly naive just because we didn't really know that much about the program. And there really isn't that much information out there about it. And
everybody on the internet, this pisses me off. Everybody on the internet acts like it's the coolest, best thing ever on the planet.
Yeah.
So they set your expectations so high.
Yeah.
And I think that it does have the capacity to meet those expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't even talk about how frustrating and how difficult this process is.
Yeah.
So we're getting back to the negative.
But what I mean, like what I meant to like go into after that is that getting to explore the world is just an invaluable experience that you just don't get the chance to do very often. But the experiences that we've gotten traveling here have just been so incredible. And like we've gone places that I had seen in movies and I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there. Or like that you've heard about or seen on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Like it's just really, really, really an incredible experience that I definitely think outweighs the cons.
Agreed.
But it's necessary to know the cons going into it.
The cons are still pretty big.
Yeah.
But getting to see Europe for me has been this like dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got to ski the Swiss Alps. We've gone on a cruise in the Mediterranean. We've done so many things that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So this sounds super cheesy, but it does feel like a dream come true.
Absolutely.
So I don't ever want to say that this was a bad opportunity.
No.
I want the last words about this program to be positive ones, because overall it is a positive experience.
Absolutely.
But I feel like going in with the right mindset is super helpful. So huge con, I would say, or huge pro. The biggest pro in my mind is that you get to travel around Europe.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Super cheap, super accessible, life-changing. You do not come back the same person. So yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna get back on our negative train here. Another con is you get no help. Absolutely no help. I'm gonna say that one more time. You get no help when you get to Spain. You land in Spain, you get to whatever city you're gonna be living in, and then it's on you to find apartments. It's on you to figure out the transportation. It's on you to figure out where you bank. And most banks hate you because you're American, if you're American. And you get no help in getting a residency card, which is literally obligatory in Spain. Because when you get a visa, it only lasts 90 days.
Yeah, they only set you up with a Schengen visa, which you don't even need in order to get into the country. So I'm like, why did you guys even give us that visa?
Yeah,
like,
they make you get a visa that they don't help you get in the first place.
No.
And then when you get here, you have to figure out your whole new life. And there's nobody to help you. Yeah. I only got through because there were people here in Facebook groups that helped me. Yeah. And we figured out places to live, figured out transportation. We had to do all of that ourselves. There was a point when you were ready to just like throw in the towel, go home. Oh, absolutely. And I remember when we were getting a bank account, they literally told me no at first, and in a very condescending way that I will never forget. And then we went to another bank, and she was very like...
I was gonna name drop, I didn't.
Maybe don't name drop it. But we went to another bank, and she, super helpful, super glad we went with this bank, but... We went with Santander,
and I will name drop that one because they've been awesome for us.
And in the process, she made it seem like she was having difficulties. And I was like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. I'm ready to go home.
Which is crazy because he's probably like one of the most resilient people I know. Like he does not let things affect him for the most part. And so when he does get to a point where he's like I will fly off the deep end and nobody knows why. I don't know why. It just happens. Yeah. But he just like is so like steady and so like not emotionless, but like steady in his emotions that when he was like ready to go, I was like, no, pick it back up. We're not doing it.
She had to carry me through. Yeah. So it's difficult, like frustratingly so.
And I think again, it's definitely an added layer because we're doing it together, and we really didn't want to have roommates. Like I'm working from home, so I didn't want to be in an apartment that I'm having to share with a bunch of other people. And so I think it definitely made it harder that we were trying to like do this on our own without people who are already here or anything like that. Like since we've been here, we've been added to more Facebook groups, and I've seen more often that they post like, oh, we have a room in this apartment here, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, that's great. That's awesome. And worst came to worst, we probably would have just done that. Yeah. But it's also like a lot of the beds are twin beds, and I'm not sharing a twin bed for 9 months, 10 months, a year, whatever it is. Like, I'm sorry, like I'll share a twin bed with you for a weekend, but the whole time we're here is just not feasible. Or like one bathroom for 6 people. I'm like, no, thank you. And so I think if you're doing it by yourself, it could be a little bit of a different experience. And my biggest suggestion for that would be to get into Facebook groups. Probably be my number one suggestion is to become a part of those so that you can find housing that way. But like we were looking on Idealist, Spot a Home, all of these different websites. We were looking at like trying to rent a college dorm that we could try and get by ourselves. Like we're looking at anything, and it was just a nightmare. And we definitely got not scammed, but like taken advantage of.
We got taken advantage of for sure.
But at that point, we were here for like 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were in our 3rd week of being here, and then we finally got an apartment.
Yeah, and at that point, I was like, I cannot keep
spending money on
this hotel. Like, it felt like every other day we were going down to reception being like, we need to add another couple days here, put it on the card. Okay, we need to add another couple days, put it on the card. And it's just like, after a while, spending $100 and some a night. It wasn't that much because
we found a decent hotel.
Yeah. But still, even that, we were paying like $80 a night or something like that. And I'm like, I cannot do this long term.
Yeah. So take it with a grain of salt. Because if you're by yourself, I think you'll have a better chance than we did. But
we were also talking to somebody who also lives here who's doing the program, and they have roommates, and he's like, I don't love my roommates. So just be aware of that as well, because it's definitely can be an interesting group. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what you're moving into. So just like kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah. So ideally, you find somebody else who's doing the program. You guys find a space together.
But yeah, they don't help you.
No,
and
they don't help.
He reached out to his school. They were like, yeah, try these websites. We were asking the bank teller. We were like,
do you know any?
How do we rent? And she was like, I don't know. And then I came back a few weeks later to give her our address that we had moved into or whatever. And she was like, you guys found an apartment that fast? And I was like, oh, so it was worse than we thought.
It could have been worse than what we had. Yeah.
Like, all right. Well, at least we know that.
Put it into perspective for us.
Yeah.
So another pro is that you get to experience cultures and gain perspective from non-Americans.
Yeah.
I think this one's huge. It kind of ties into the first one of getting to see Europe and travel around Europe. But if you just go to like the touristy spots and you eat at the American restaurants and that's all you do, you're not really doing the country justice, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you need to go to those parts that nobody goes to. I feel like you need to be speaking with people from other countries and getting to see how they live life, how they do things. Because I feel like in America, we're kind of in a bubble. And the best advice I could give you is get out of that bubble.
Yeah.
See how they do things in other countries.
Absolutely.
Because America is a good country, but we are not the best in everything, even though they claim to be. So get out of the country, see how other people do things, see how other people like their lives, and learn from that.
I also think that the touristy spots have value.
They're good.
Like, go see those too. So I think that there's definitely merit in both, and take advantage of both, because
do both.
I would hate to have gone to Paris and then I'm like, nope, didn't see the Eiffel Tower. Okay.
Yeah, so do both.
Yeah.
But getting to see and interact with people of other cultures is one of the things that I'll never take for granted, because you literally get a window into somebody else's perspective and somebody else's life and how they live and how they perceive things.
Yeah.
Invaluable. So the last con is, this one was our experience and is something I for sure did not expect. But homesickness creeps up on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was something that I was expecting. Like, thank God I'm out of the United States. I'm not going to want to come back. And I think a huge part of me doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But there's also a part of me that's like, I really miss New Mexican food. I miss my friends. I miss my dogs. I miss our dogs.
So much.
More than anything. Sorry, friends and family. I miss Simon and I miss Toby.
They're babies.
So, yeah, homesickness creeps up on you.
Yeah.
And you got to know how to combat that. You got to know how to deal with it, because it could eat at you and it can make things worse.
Yeah.
And it can take your perspective and take your mindset away from this incredible experience that you're doing. You're literally living in Spain, in Europe, getting to travel around Europe.
Yeah.
Don't let homesickness take that from you. So it's a bitch, but...
Yeah. And it snuck up on us and just like bit us hard. And like, I think when we first got here, I was a little bit homesick, but more so because I was like, I didn't have a sense of routine.
Sure.
And now, I don't think we will get to a point where we really have a sense of routine here. But we're definitely more in a routine here than we were when we first got here. And now that we're in that, I'm like, well, I wish that so-and-so was here to see this. Or I wish we could have done this with this person. Or I wish like these people could have come and met us here. Or, things like that.
So definitely keep that in mind. Homesickness sucks.
Yeah.
So the last one, it's kind of generic and it's kind of all-encompassing, but you get to meet amazing people. And I think the one that comes to my mind is the travel guide on the canal cruise in Amsterdam. I think he was like one of the coolest people we met. and just getting to talk with him and share his experience with life in Amsterdam and healthcare system and living in Amsterdam was like, I'm never gonna forget that. That was super cool. So the people you meet in Europe are incredible. Like there are some that you're like, I wish I didn't meet you, but there are some that you're like, you were literally an angel. Like our people in Switzerland, especially. Switzerland is one of the nicest places on the planet with the nicest people. But they're just people that change your perspective, change your life, change the way you interact with other people. So I would say you're definitely still going to encounter people that are not the best, but
I think that you're going to encounter that everywhere.
That's no matter
people
where you go.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
but getting to say that you have friends in other countries, that's a total flex in my opinion. So if there are anything that you think we missed, leave a comment down below with that. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at @2travelunfiltered. If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next one.